He's such a jerk.
Not even rolling black. No mic checks.
And welcome to another fine edition of It's a Sports Show. How about this crew we put together out here?
Boy, you know.
They have, some of you at home may or may not know that in order, we're not, you don't see anything in our ears that we can go, oh, really? Okay. We have a little speaker here that we hear them. Speaker's not plugged into the right spot. I say, Mitch, speaker's not plugged in. Okay, 5. He starts screaming. What a crew.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
They started very serious, but now
they're just joking around
Yeah,
now. They're
just
not taking it
their
seriously like our fans.
they're just taking their jobs for granted.
Unbelievable.
Meantime, we're here collecting
Look
our
at
Oscar
this.
trophy, and we get no respect. I mean, it's a
What's
sports
going
show.
on
That's
here?
our trophy. We awarded
What
it
did
for...
we win? And why isn't he wearing clothes? 2 questions I have. Anyway,
Best
this show
local
is
cable
slowing
program
down by the minute.
2005.
Yeah, we're something all right. My name's Scott Cray. Alongside me, as always, Dolphin Paul. You are watching It's a Sports Show.
It's a sports show.
DP, we got a lot to talk about. Josh Beckett apparently sucks now. We were going to talk about, the heck were we going to talk about today? Soccer, World Cup soccer.
World Cup,
We're going to
baby.
talk about the Red Sox, the Yankees. We got a lot to talk about, so
Listen,
let's get
we got
started.
a little baseball. Of course, we got baseball.
Yes.
Quick basketball, a little
Yes.
bit of hockey, finals going on. We can talk about that. But, of course, as we unfortunately tape the show, we don't do it live, it's Tuesday, so we've only seen the first game of the Red Sox-Yankees.
Right.
And,
A blowout.
And for many fans, that's all you need to see. But by the time people watch the show, of course, they'll have a better perspective because the series will be probably over, and we'll know a little better what the Red Sox did. But
Your
the only
buddy
thing
Scott
we can-
Codishi put it the best way when he described last night's game. He said, man, there has never been a situation defined quite like this where right from the start, a player has taken the team out of the game and you have absolutely no reason to watch whatsoever beyond the second inning. It was over.
Well, that's true. It's true because I came in, I was outside doing some stuff. My next door neighbor said, "Oh, Red Sox are down 1-0." I come back in. I'm like, "Oh, good. It's 2-1. It's the second inning." I give it one of these
Get all
settling in
comfy.
tight.
Yep.
And Josh Beckett, I mean, I could see if this was somebody else they just called up, like Paulie,
Right.
who's pitching it tonight, and we'll get to that. But I mean, he was just throwing batting practice out there. Some guy Phillips comes in for the Yankees.
You can't even recognize the
There's a
Yankees
bomb.
anymore.
I mean, Scott was right as he opened up his show on 790 to score that it started ominous with Veritek running around like the Bad News Bears.
Right. Nobody covering
The
home
Yankees
plate.
scored 1-0, but then the Red Sox came back with 2 runs, so they were leading.
It was a
2-1.
game.
Josh Beckett. I mean, that's got to be a little bit of a concern right now because on the road, this guy's just completely different pitcher.
Well, there's two
His
things.
ERA is up to 5 change. So,
Right.
I mean, in general, you had a pretty solid pitching staff, as we talked about earlier. And now, boy, you start to wonder with Schilling, and he's been on and off a little bit.
I wouldn't go that far just yet with Beckett. My concern with Beckett, and I've said this over the last couple of weeks, I wanted to wait until the weather got warmer, hot actually, especially if you have to go.
This might be the blister theory.
And see what happens with the blister theory, thank you. But to use the quotes from my good friend Dolphin Paul, it's a long season.
A long season.
But, we can't use that as an excuse last night or in his last start because the weather was not quite that hot.
I mean, he hasn't had a problem. I mean, he hasn't even looked at his finger. And
Right.
It's never even been mentioned.
As a matter of
except on
fact-
It's a Sports Show.
Well,
But,
exactly.
no, I mean, I don't care if his whole hand was a blister. I mean, there's no reason for a guy like that to throw batting practice.
Right.
I mean, his fastball was just
Straight.
He seems to want to set up his fastball right, but sometimes they wait on it and they just tagged him hard. I mean, everybody hit.
Well, there's a couple of things, First of all, if you look at Beckett's numbers a ways back, prior to Boston into Florida, he suffered the most in the first 2 innings. In other words, this is a guy that takes a little bit to settle down. Now, when he settles down, he's in the zone and you are not hitting off of him. But I think that teams have learned that they just need to sit on that curveball, wait for the fastball, and go to town. And that's what the Yankees did. Like you mentioned, even players that we have trouble even recognizing at this point with the depleted Yankees lineup, they jumped all over that fastball. And Beckett has to learn, he has to work with it, obviously. We heard Schilling on the radio, or I heard Schilling on the radio this morning and said 2 things. One, we got to find out if the possibility is there that Beckett might be tipping pitchers. That's always a possibility. Mirabelli, apparently on the bench, is the man to find out if the Red Sox pitchers are tipping pitches, and that goes on throughout the season. but maybe something hasn't been picked up by Mirabelli, but has been by other teams. That's always a possibility. If they know when that fastball is coming, obviously they can go to town on him. The other thing is, Beckett just needs to find his way. I wouldn't go nuts just yet. I've not thrown Beckett under the bus, but been concerned about his blister issues. Other than blister issues, I don't see this guy to be a problem. I think he'll settle down and be fine.
It's not a problem, but right now I'd say it's a little bit of a reason.
It's disappointing.
A little bit of a reason for concern. I mean, as far as the game goes, listen, I don't care if they lost 26-2.
Right.
The Red Sox last year clobbered the Yankees twice, 17 and 18 runs or so.
And you forget about
ended
it.
up coming. Yeah.
Forget about it. You move
forget about
on.
it's one game. And as we stand here today, the Red Sox are still 11 games over 500.
Yep.
They're only half a game out. But I mean, if you look at it long term, like I say, it's a long season. Beckett right now is it's a little bit of concern because let's face it, you're going to need Beckett. Not only do you need Beckett and Schilling, which are two of your solid guys. Now the number 3 pitcher, that's kind of up in the air. Wells on the DL, he's an older guy.
Right.
He hurt his knee.
He comes back, he gets whacked in the same knee he was hurt for in the first
Who knows
place.
what's going to happen with Wells? Clement is starting to be a head case.
Yes, he is.
Let's face it, are you comfortable with Wakefield in the number 3 spot in the playoff game?
Sure.
You are?
Why not?
Well,
Especially against the Yankees.
I'm a little leery because Wakefield...
You don't know what's going to happen, but
Well,
still.
that's what I'm saying. There's really not a lot of level of comfort with
I
every
think
pitch.
overall you've seen him be pretty successful. Not to mention, don't forget that, not that we have aces in the staff lined up in the starting rotation, but you can put Beckett wherever you need him. He could easily be in the middle of in the middle of the game. Come on in. He could close a game if you really needed him to. Not that we need
but
him.
I just think it's a little bit of a concern right now. We'll have to see, especially on the road, how Beckett performs. And
Right.
I mean, Papelbon right now has been unbelievable, lights out.
He's
so
the man.
So the back end of the pitching staff, if they can get to those later innings, I mean,
Right.
you almost have no fear.
Who is it that the
Papelbon
Red Sox are sitting on over in Pawtucket that they're hoping to bring up at some point this
Well,
year?
Hanson,
Hanson.
Yes, they're unsure. I guess most people say because of Papelbon's performance that Hanson maybe is going to come up and they're grooming him to be a starter. But I think
They're
that's
taking their time with him, and I
still
like
a little
that.
bit of
I
a
think that's
project.
a good.
There's been talk about Greg Maddux being in the mix, but what do you give up for a guy like that? I mean, you
Right.
can't give up a guy like Hanson, in my opinion. So we'll have to see how this pitching stuff goes. And listen, it's one game.
Right.
We've been through this before. If the Red Sox come back and win 3, all is forgotten. Chances are these teams will probably split 2-2. I love fans that come on the radio. And, talking
It's
trash
all
is one
over.
thing.
The
but people
series
are
is
like, I
going to
think
be
we can
swept.
take 4.
Right.
But, you mentioned something I'd like to get back to as far as the Yankees. You've got to give them credit.
I don't know how they do
With
it.
Phillips, Cabrera, Robinson, these guys
amazing.
coming in are filling in very well.
That Robinson Cano kid is something else, man. He's
Milky
got some
Cabrera's
range.
not that bad.
Right.
I mean, these...
Except for his first name.
Yeah, Milky. I mean, Milky could be like a cow or something. Nelly, Milky Cabrera. But they've done a good job.
Right.
If you look at this lineup, a lot of people right before the series said, "Oh, this is the Red Sox chance to get 4 and up their lead." Well,
And it's true. It's the chance they should
well,
be
right
taking
now,
advantage,
right
but
now,
the Yankees are just
tonight's
pulling it
game,
off.
as we speak on a Tuesday,
Right.
it's kind of important because if the Red Sox lose, now they're really against it. The best they can do is have this series. And again, it is early.
Yes.
But these games aren't fun. This is your division
Well,
opponent. This is like playing, Dolphins versus Patriots, Jets, Bills. I mean, this is it's not an end all be all, but
It's a good representation because you have a good idea that they might see each other in the playoffs. But let's talk about this for a second. Yankees, we all know, if you follow along, okay, they've got Sheffield on the DL. They've got Matsui is probably out for the season. Now, most importantly, recently, Jeter is now going to be out for a few days.
cut his thumb.
Yeah, busted his
I
thumb,
believe.
hit by a pitch again. The guy,
Hitchhiking.
and he's someone that Yankee team needs. Now, with that in mind, when these guys started going down, you would think, hey, this is a chance for us to gain some ground. It just hasn't happened.
No.
And it's not because the Red Sox haven't fully taken advantage. It's because the Yankees literally seem to be just as good.
That's to the Yankees' credit, and Mussina played a decent game yesterday. Not tremendous, not overpowering, but when you get that big a lead, it's a lot easier to pitch.
You're cruising at that point.
I mean, unfortunately, you're going to put up with people like our producer, Jen, who's a Yankee fan. Did you watch a game? Did you watch a game? Yeah, I watched it after an hour.
I put the game on after a meeting here last night. I put the game on, and unfortunately, it was like the 4th inning, and the score was already blown away. And that was the mistake of the day, was putting that game on with her right behind me, because all I heard was, woohoo! And You want to give the old elbow to the Yankee fan, but you can't.
But that's,
do it.
you know, again, when this show airs, I mean, fans will have a little better idea, and obviously, and next week we'll have a little better idea. But again, it's
See
still,
what happens.
It's still early. It's only one game, but I mean, this pitching situation.
There's a 5-game series in August, okay? So
Yeah.
let's, and it's in Fenway, so let's wait for that to come around. Fans, don't forget something, okay? Red Sox Nation, anyway. If you Yankee fans want to listen, that's fine. While you want to beat the Yankees because of everything that's behind the scenes, the rivalry that is, it's still just a game. They need to win every game. Beating Detroit, okay, both New York and Boston, beating Detroit is almost a bigger thing in a way because Detroit is that much better of a team. Now, we talked about the Red Sox-Yankees, you know, going back and forth. You want to see how the season series goes because you're probably going to face each other in the playoffs. For a while there, I was the first one to say, there's a good chance they won't because you got Detroit and Chicago on the other side. But now we've seen Detroit kind of change their
They're
tune.
4-6 their last 10.
Yeah, so.
But they're still 37-20, but they were kind of vulnerable against these good teams. So
It makes you wonder if Detroit's going to stick around. Maybe the Yankees and Red Sox are still going to be in it in the end. And are we being fair to Toronto at this point?
Well,
Those darn Canadians.
I mean, yeah, I think we're being as fair as we can be. I mean, they've done well against the Red Sox. I mean,
Yeah.
I think they're going to be in the mix. They're not too far out. They're only 3 games out from first place.
And people are going nuts about how Toronto has had Boston's number. You know what? There's always a team. Baltimore at one point had Boston's number. There's always a team in the AL East that has our number.
I know we joke about the long season, but there is 100 games left. You got to kind of let things play out a little bit. That's why you can't get too up
Now,
and down.
from your perspective of the long season, as you love to say,
Da-ding!
da-ding,
Long season.
how's the season going so far? Are you shocked that at this point we're past the 1/3 point, and soon we're going to be talking about all-star ballots at this point?
It's going pretty much according to. You talk about shocked as far as how fast it's
How
going.
has the season progressed? You know what I
I
mean?
think it's going pretty much according to form. I mean,
Yeah.
if you know, Red Sox, Yankees, you've got Toronto in the mix. The Red Sox, Yankees are neck and neck. Their series still means a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, it was on national TV yesterday.
Right.
It was the lead ESPN story on the sports flashes, not just locally, but nationally.
All over the place.
So, I mean, I think it's going according to form. As usual, you know, I'm curious to see how this whole thing plays out. By the All-Star break, I think, you know, obviously.
Moves are going to be made at that point.
By the
because
All-Star
you know
break,
what? The Yankees' injuries, as bad as they are, their pitching staff is still the problem. It's not the injuries of the outfield. It's
Yeah,
the
but Randy
pitching
Johnson's
staff.
rebounded a little bit.
Nah,
you know?
he had one good game.
Well, but
He's
still.
done it before.
Well, I
That's
mean-
like saying Beckett has had a bad game and he's all done.
They're playing Ching Ming Wang tonight. He's
Who's
5-2.
Yeah.
You know, so
He's not bad on the win-loss side,
plus
but what's
they got
his
those
ERA?
bats. Plus they got those bats.
Yeah. Hey, both teams can hit, but their pitching staff
So
is
baseball's
not.
a big story, and again, by next week we'll have a better idea how this series worked out. Unfortunately, because we don't do the show live.
I'm excited. I'll be
You're
watching.
excited, and you keep looking at Michelle Wie, who failed to qualify for the U.S. Open.
What's going on with her now? I'm hearing all kinds of things about her dad being compared to Tiger's dad and how the two have had completely different approaches. I didn't catch the whole story. You're a golf man. I don't know if you could fill me in.
I did not catch a story of her dad.
What's up
but
with Michelle Wie? What's the big deal? Because she's a woman trying to qualify in a men's
What?
PGA tournament?
She's 16 years old. She hits the ball a ton. She's pretty much the female version of Tiger Woods. She played very well, and the U.S. Open is one of the majors that almost anybody can qualify as long as your handicap's a certain amount.
Yep.
As a matter of fact, there's a few local Rhode Islanders who tried to qualify. A couple of club pros, one from Alpine,
Yep.
Eddie Kirby, who I know, a few of the local guys. So you can actually qualify for the U.S. Open. Which
How does that work?
a
So you
tremendous
do you
achievement.
play 18
I believe
holes,
they
or-
play 2 rounds, and they picked the top. I should probably have this information. I didn't realize we're going to talk about the U.S. Open. I think it's 18, maybe.
Well, that's more information than I
18
knew.
people will qualify. Michelle Wie was close. She had about 5 or 6 holes to go, and she needed, I think, a birdie. But she really fell apart towards the end because her putter let it down. She missed a lot of short putts. But she doesn't get any advantages like women do if they play here. They don't go up to the red tees.
Right.
She
She's playing
has
from the
to
guys.
qualify.
So the fact that she almost made the cut, I mean, is that credit in itself?
Yeah,
or-
I think so. I mean, it's over 7,000 yards. I mean, it's a very long course.
Yeah.
Barrington's own Brett Quigley, who was kind of an established pro on the PGA, he didn't qualify for the U.S. Open. He had to go through qualifying.
Yep.
He he had the best round, 11 under. So
Wow.
Quigley from Barrington qualified for the tour. For the U.S. Open. Ironically, Brad Faxon and Billy Andre did not. So this isn't like a joke. I mean,
Right.
There's some very,
the
very
real deal.
good golfers. It's a real deal. It would have been a great story if she had qualified. I think it would have made the U.S. Open tremendous. She brought in a lot of people. A lot of people follow her. So, a lot of people are like, well.
So is it because she's a woman? Because she's 16? A combination of the two?
I think it's a combination of both. Obviously, she's
because
a woman.
she's so young.
And she's 16 years old, and she's trying to compete with the men or seeing if she can compete. And I think it's good for women's golf. It gives them a
Haven't
lift.
we seen this already, though? I mean, who was the girl a couple years ago that was getting into this whole mix of the PGA and trying to? Do you know who you would know better than I would? That woman that came around, she dominated her side of the tour.
Oh, you're talking about like Annika? She's an established pro, and she played in a couple men's events and did okay, but
I remember at the time in the sports
she's
papers.
a product. I mean, she's only 16 years old. That's the big.
So that's the big difference.
I
I mean,
think
as
so.
far as a female entering the men's PGA
She
tour,
hits the ball
it's almost like we've already seen it.
280 yards.
Yeah.
That's what a lot of guys average. I mean, you can say what you want about men versus women, but golf is a sport where you need some strength. And let's face it, men have.
Would you say that she's ahead of Tiger Woods at this point, at the age of 16, where Tiger was? Because Tiger decided to forego the PGA and go to college, and he went 4 years of college and took his licks in the meantime.
Tiger played more amateur events than she did. I think Tiger was a little bit more dominant than she is, but she's obviously got a tremendous future. She brings people into the game. There were hundreds of people following her as she moved from hole to hole. So
it's a big deal.
I think it's good for the sport. A lot of people say, well, if she plays, men's tournaments, we should be allowed to play women's tournaments.
I mean, the men's PGA, the men's golf, not just in the PGA, but you go to any country club, it's a very secluded. Do you belong to a country club, or you just play a lot of golf?
I played a lot of different.
So you're around the atmosphere. It's a very men's-oriented sport, and on the other side, women. So they don't like each other.
Okay, one of the most famous golf courses in the world, or possibly the most famous, Augusta, where they play the Masters.
Right.
There's no woman allowed.
Right.
So that's a point of contention every year when the Masters come up. Those are good old boys there in Georgia. I mean, I probably shouldn't say this because I have no proof, but
they're old
I bet
school.
you they're not too happy that Tiger Woods has won a few green jackets.
Just because they're old school
It's
Georgians.
Very old school, yeah. So, but
Isn't it time we get over that mentality, though? I mean,
I think if a woman can compete and go through the regular qualifications, that's my point of contention.
she'll earn the respect.
Yeah, I mean, if she made it and qualified for the U.S. Open, so be it. She's playing. There's no rule changes.
Right.
She's not wearing anything different. They're not making any type of accommodation.
She's going through the
She's
same.
not riding in the cart. She's not. As long as the rules are exactly even. If she's good enough to compete and beat the men, some men are going to be embarrassed because they're going to say, "You got beat by a girly man."
Yeah.
But hey, listen, congratulations.
good.
She's cute too. She's kind of cute.
Dude, she's 16.
Oh, well, she's cute. I mean, I'm not making any type of references. I mean, jeez,
I just can't even
I
imagine.
just turned 18. I can wait a couple of years.
Good luck to her, because I can't even imagine a 16-year-old, male or female, having to go through that kind of pressure. You know what I mean?
Well, as long as she handles it well. But yeah, she's going to be pretty much followed around through her career.
Yeah.
Maybe she's not asking for the pressure. She's gifted, but she's going to be. Yeah, there is always going to be pressure on her from now until her golf career ends because people are going to expect big things. There's going to be big crowds, and
Is race a part of this whole reason why she's all over the place, or does that really not have anything to do with any of this?
No, I don't think so. I mean, she's technically.
Have we kind of gotten over that with Tiger doing what he's done, and now we're seeing a lot of different races in the PGA?
Technically, she's U.S. I mean.
So it doesn't really even play a part.
She's of Asian descent.
Right.
So it's not. A guy once said one time they should play in their own country and stuff like that. But in this case,
I don't know who would say something like that. Don't get me started, Dolphin Paul.
It's a little different, but
hey, let's switch gears.
Move on to a couple other things.
Yeah.
What do we got?
Let's
Little
go back
NBA
to
finals.
Let's do the NBA finals. Then I want to talk a little Pujols, and we'll go from
Well,
there.
let's go
NBA
to,
finals.
Let's clean up baseball and move
all
on
right.
to NBA.
Well, you sure? Because we might debate this for a little while.
Well, but I don't want to jump back and forth. I think we should.
Oh, I know. We're
Close
going
out baseball
to
'cause we don't
debate
have a
with
lot of
soccer.
time.
That was the deal. Albert Pujols.
Yep.
Okay, the man was crushing the ball. crushing the ball and well on pace to break Barry Bonds' single-season record for home runs. And when I ever saw Albert getting into that groove, I was nothing but psyched to take Barry Bonds out of the record book, okay? And I don't think I'm alone on this. And then when I saw Barry Bonds get that exclusive interview with ESPN after he broke Babe Ruth's second, it's not a record, okay, second best, he sat there with this smug grin saying, all right, now you guys could follow Albert, and I think you should follow Pujols. It's very exciting, and I hope he breaks the single-season record, which couldn't be the most fake thing that I have ever heard from a single human being. Second fake. There are some fake people that are, in the realm of Seekonk, but that's not here or there. That's an inside
Seekonk.
thing.
Wow. Seekonk.
I know. Poor Seekonk.
I thought you were going to say United States. Seekonk.
It's
Watch out, Seekonk
It
residents.
was so fake to hear him say that. Now, my point of bringing all this up, Pujols, reaching out for a foul ball, pull something somewhere, and is now going to be on the DL, and they're saying possibly 6 to 8 weeks to get this strained oblique muscle taken care of. That home run record's not going to happen. There's no way.
That's a good point you make, because if I think a lot of people were pulling for him to and let's just make one thing clear right now. On pace is two very dangerous words.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Or on pace or at this pace.
Right.
We all know that a lot
of
of players don't go at this pace, because he was on an
could've gotten
unbelievable pace.
Right.
But I think if he were to do something in baseball, say break a home run record, or even get, not even break it, 60, 65 home runs.
Oh, no. Break it.
No. But I'm just saying, people would say, wow, he hasn't been on the juice. It would be good for baseball.
True.
It would take a little bit of suspicion away, like somebody can really do it.
But why now, if we see power players and think that they're on the juice, why is Pujols not in the mix? Is it his physical makeup? He mashes the ball. Why would he not be possibly accused
I
of
think
it?
he's had that body style.
Yeah. Sort of like
Which is
Ramirez.
kind of a weird thing. I don't know.
It's almost like we're judging physical character.
It's hard to, I'm uncomfortable. I'm not uncomfortable talking about it. It's just hard to say, why wouldn't you
You're
judge him?
comfortable talking about men's frames?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I'm comfortable in my manhood. But
I got you off track now.
Can I just tell you a quick side story?
Okay, let's hear it.
My friend, who, again, I don't want to drop names, but,
Scott
Cray,
again?
my friend, because
I'm a little
we were
concerned
playing
about
golf.
you mentioning Scott an
I
awful
have
lot.
a powder blue golf hat, which
you do.
I got at one of the local golf courses. And Scott makes fun of it. Oh, but, So the other day he had one on similar, and he says, and I go, wow, that hat is a little similar to mine. And he says, no, this is slate blue, and yours is powder blue. I said, no, mine is comfortable with your manhood blue. So I just thought I'd bring that.
Well,
It was kind of fun. It was a
bring
good
the
line.
fact up to him that he actually knows what slate blue and
Yeah,
powder blue
I'm
is.
comfortable
That's
enough to wear that. Anyway,
wearing hats on a golf
I think
course.
that's what you said. I think Albert Pujols had that type of frame, and
pom-pom.
he's been.
We're judging frames basically by steroid use.
Well,
We're saying Big
that's
Papi,
how you have to
Ramirez,
do
and
it. That's what
Pujols.
everybody says.
And it's possible. I mean,
I think, like I said, even if he didn't break the record, if he had just a tremendous year with 60, 65 home runs, I think baseball themselves would say, well, see, this isn't just a steroid issue, but like you said, it's more serious than they're saying. So, 6 to 8 weeks would definitely.
It's too
He'll
bad.
have to do a lot of catching up to do rehab. It is too bad.
There's a lot of guys in the 20s right now for home runs. Jim Tomei's on the list, and we could go on and on. Who knows what'll happen? I doubt that the single-season record is now. Isn't it funny, though, that when it was broke by McGwire back in the day, it was such a big deal. Now, I think the biggest deal would be that Bonds, it's one less record that Bonds owns at this point. You know what I mean? It wouldn't be such a big deal as it was. All of a sudden, balls are flying out of the park left and right. Chris Shelton from Detroit started off with something stupid, like 8 home runs in 7 games. And now he's, of course, dipped off the long end. But it's just amazing. I'm so disappointed.
The longer nobody hits those large amount of home runs, the more suspicions. If nobody hits 60 home runs for another 10 years, we're going to say, that's a
Not
definite.
even, just the next few years.
Let's face it. Maris was 59.
Yeah.
This home run record wasn't broke by
It's ridiculous.
2 or 3.
Right.
72 is a lot more than 59.
It's ridiculous.
Considering a 162 game season.
Right.
So, unfortunately,
whatever.
we're always going to have this suspicion.
All right, so that wraps up baseball. Nothing more to say there.
Wrap it
Yankees
up.
still stink, Jen. What do we want to move on? How much time we have left? He's going to yell it because the speaker's not working. So let's. How much? Oh,
2
that's
minutes.
it.
Wow.
2 minutes. Dirk Nowitzki, the ugliest guy in the NBA. You had something to say?
Well, no, I just got to say real quick, this is a good NBA Finals. I know a lot of people have been sour on basketball past few years, but you got two teams who've never been there, Dallas, with a star on the court, Dirk Nowitzki, and a few other guys.
Yep.
Good coach, Avery Johnson, who instituted some defense this year, and their owner, Mark Cuban, who's kind of a character in himself.
He loves
And then
it.
on the other side, you got Miami, which, as we all know, is just a glorious city. And you got Shaq, Pat Riley, Dwayne Wade. This is a good finals. I'm looking forward.
All I care about is Shaq.
No, but I'm looking forward to watching this. I mean, this is a good NBA final. I
Yep.
think it's a great matchup.
I want Shaq to win it all so that he
I
can
do
look
too,
at
because
Kobe and
I
say,
got 12 of his rookie cards.
Kobe didn't even make it to the playoffs.
NHL playoffs.
Yep.
Carolina, great game last night.
cares?
Well, Peter Laviolette, the old
Dude, they win a cup.
Peter
a cup.
Laviolette.
I got a
the
cup
old
right here.
Boston Bruins,
A cup of coffee, cup of water.
Providence Bruins coach.
Yeah.
That's another blunder by the Boston Bruins, not
Yeah.
elevating him to coach. Great game last night, 5-4. I don't know if you saw it. Unfortunately, the
No, I
Edmonton
did not.
goalie got hurt with about 6 minutes ago. It was a 4-4 game.
Yep.
So the guy who comes in, of course, this Edmonton goalie was a star of the up to this point. New guy who comes in, 31 seconds to go. He's behind the net, fiddling, diddling. He goes to pass it out. He gets caught up with one of his own players. The puck squirts out. The guy, 31 seconds to go. Carolina wins 5-4.
There you go.
Also,
Just goes to show you should have two great goalies.
one of my favorite events, every 4 years,
Let's talk about soccer
because
next
I
week.
played soccer. Well, I'm just saying. Of
course you played soccer.
We'll talk about it next
Don't
week.
make me get into race here in connection with soccer.
World Cup
I know
soccer
you played soccer.
starts Friday. World Cup, one of the greatest events ever. We'll talk about that next week because we probably don't have enough time to debate.
Where were your descendants from?
The what?
Your descendants?
My descendants are from Portugal.
And you played soccer. Shocking. Have a
Oh,
nice day.
okay. That's a shock. Now we're going to talk about the soccer descendants of every country in the world. I got a whole bunch of countries here that we can get on.
US has
Maybe
no
we'll
right
stereotype
playing
all of them and wear a different outfit. All I got to say is, he's back. We'll talk about that next week.
Have a nice day, everybody.
Are we wrapping it up there?